Please welcome Mr. Trilochan Mohanty.
Interplanetary travels more or less were common in those days. And then Brahma said, you go and find out. There'll be nobody. No relation of you.
Is this hinting to some time dilation or some sort?
Even like today in the modern
Today, yes, you can go and verify yourself. It has no resemblance. We knew about the time dilation only in the 20th century.
when
When-
Einstein said. So basically Jagannath is an extraterrestrial.
I take it has to be. Something cannot get out of nothing. There was something.
Hey guys, the Double Take here, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about a really interesting and intriguing topic. It's going to be about the Jagannath Cult of Odisha. But before we start, we would request you guys to like and subscribe if you enjoy watching our podcast and deep topics that we converse about. And because this is a very special episode, we have a guest with us. Pruthak, could you introduce the guest?
Please welcome Mr. Trilochan Mohanty. Sir is a graduate from IIT Kharagpur and has served in the government for over 33 years and retired as a director. Sir is a special expert in the Jagannath Cult of Odisha and all things relating to religion, philosophy, etc. etc. So, could you please elaborate on that?
Thank you. But I would just like to say, or rather contradict, I am not an expert. I have done certain study on this particular subject of Jagannath cult or some religion scripts. Really, but to tell me an expert is not a little bit correct. But even then, whatever study I have done, I did find very interesting things not known much to many people. I can elaborate on that only.
So, you had mentioned earlier that you had found some mysterious and interesting stuff about the Jagannath Cult of Odisha. Would you like to elaborate on that topic?
Yes, that is the most mysterious things I have found out. Among all religious deities or gods or temples in the country, in the whole of the country, there is no deity who is as mysterious as the deity called Jagannath of Puri.
Right. But before we actually get into what is so mysterious about Jagannath or what is so interesting about Jagannath, could we actually get a brief overview and the story behind the deity Jagannath of Puri?
Well, story of Jagannath is, to me, whatever I have studied, to me it is a continuation of after death of Sri Krishna, the god who fought a war or who rather uh, was the protagonist in the whole of Mahabharata war and peace. All he tried to bring peace but could not. In any case, he died rather a disappointed person
Disappointed as in?
because he desired a peace between the two parties. He desired some sort of treaty or something. It didn't happen. Ultimately, a war ensued, and then everything destroyed. Even if we go deeply into it, some say that it was a nuclear war. And you know today what a nuclear war can do to the earth, and that exactly happened. And more or less, I would go by. I normally would go by it. Now, continuing the topic of Jagannath, Sri Krishna, when he went to after this war, he went to take rest in a forest area alone. And while he was sleeping or taking rest, There is one tribal man of Sabor tribe. He had gone to the forest for hunting, and he mistook this supine figure of Sri Krishna as a prey. So he shot an arrow at it, and then when he realized that it is not a deer or his desired prey, he rose and found that it is Sri Krishna the Lord. However, Lord comforted him, saying that this has to happen, this has happened, don't worry, only do one thing, only you do one thing, after I die, you cremate me and see that no part of the body remains intact. It should be totally everything to be ashes. Now, this Sabar, whose name was Zara, he did cremate, but while burning the body, he found that a particular portion of the navel area did not burn at all. Whatever he did, he could not do it, could not burn it properly. So he brought this particular part of the body, half burnt, to his house and started worshipping. Gradually, and remember, this was the last part of the Mahabharata war, Mahabharata episode or Mahabharata era. Now then, his worship of this deity, who named him as Nila Madhava, it spread far and wide.
Forgive me for interrupting,
Yes.
but I just wanted to ask that Krishna had specifically instructed the hunter that see to it that all of my body burns, but this body part just couldn't burn, right? So because this body part didn't burn, was there any after effect of some kind?
There is no certain after effect. He just found he was also mystified that after so much of fire, so much of heat, nothing is happening to this person. So this must have got some mystic power on this. Since he could not do anything about it, so he thought it's better take it, and since it is a sort of holy item, so he took it and then started worshipping. That is
Yeah,
the thing.
like Krishna is known as a mischievous planner, right? So could this be a part of his plan?
Could be, very much, could be. Ultimately, you see, everything is planned from their angle. To us, it may look totally unplanned, totally everything in disarray, but things are different. Everything goes according to him. If you take him as the Lord. So, if I continue, if you want me to continue, then his fame, when it spread far and wide, it came to the one particular king whose name was Indradyumna. He was the king of Avanti. He came to know about it. Then he wanted to find out where this deity is and how to get the deity to bring him to a proper. Why should a deity remain be worshipped in a forest? Let us bring it to the habitat.
Avanti, right? Which part of India are we talking about exactly?
We are talking about the central India
Central.
now. But let us remember, this Indradyumna is related to Mahabharata period of a king of Mahabharata period, whose name is Indradhara. So, we though call him Indradyumna, but to me, whatever I have studied, he is the person of Indradhara. Same
So they're
person.
the same people.
Same person.
Okay.
And after the war, etc., his kingdom was intact, or he was intact. He started reigning, and then when he came to know, he sent a messenger to this particular place, to Jarasapur, where Jarasapur is. And by the time Jarasapur had died, and he had his successors, and he did part about it. So this messenger, whose name was Vidyapati, he married his daughter, and his daughter helped him to find out the particular abode of the deity. Then he came and informed the king that I have found out the place where this deity is. We can go and fetch it. So the king came with all his army and raided the place, but found nothing. Deity has vanished. So crestfallen, this king Indradhara or Indradyumna came back and started a tapasya to the god. And it is said he made this tapasya in Puri, in the place where the present Gundicha Mandir or Gundicha temple is situated. There it is said that he did this penance or tapasya for 1,000 years.
So
You may not be able to believe it, but if we think of that period, the period of Mahabharata, and Indradhara becoming a person of Mahabharata era, people then had that much longevity.
So he was just a normal person for that time.
Normal person for that time, not a normal person for this time or
So
our area.
people of that time lived like 1,000 years.
Yes, 1,000 years. Quite, yeah. So, continuing this part of the episode, after 1,000 years, for a moment, forget about the time period 1,000 or 500, this thing. It is mentioned in the scripture about 1,000 years, so I have mentioned it. After this, then there was a divine message to him that I shall be floating as a log in this sea.
Divine message from whom?
Divine message from whom? It could be from any god, you say, god or any divinity. We cannot know that. It came maybe straight from the god's mouth, if we call them god. Now, then Indradyumna went to the sea beach and found that there is a log. And here I would like to say something more. This era which I have been insisting from the beginning of my conversation with you, that the whole thing is related or connected to Mahabharata, and this is the tail end of the Mahabharata.
About the war.
There,
Also, I have heard something about this special log. I've heard that even Rigveda mentions this log. So it has to be around 5,000 years old, because Rigveda is 5,000 years old.
yeah, right, exactly, you're perfectly correct. And Rigveda in this, that Sukta 114, they have clearly described that there will be a log in the seashore of Puri, and which will be bestowed with all the divinity. Clearly mentioned in that place, that particular sukta for him. Now, which means this episode of log was, or this episode log predates this Rig Veda. It was much before Rig Veda was scripted or was created, and to which what I am saying, that it only emphasizes that fact that the whole thing, Jagannath episode, is not of this era of 10th century or 12th century. It is far beyond that. Although otherwise it will not be. How can a simple log will be mentioned in that text of Rig Veda, the most religious text of which is called Veda?
Rig Veda, the most influential piece of scripture that is for Hindus.
Yes, yes. So that is how then this king Indradyumna, he made Puri his place and started out the log and got a skilled carpenter or skilled this thing who is as per if we believe the script, it was Vishwakarma himself. But without believing that also, these images were carved out of that particular log in 3 or 4 forms. One is Jagannath, the other is his brother Balaram and or Balabhadra, and the sister Subhadra. Now, in fact, there is another 4th image. Also, it is just a round of just like a mace. It always accompanies the Trinity, the God, wherever he goes. Even during the period of Ratha Yatra, you might have seen chariot festival. It accompanies wherever God will be there.
What makes this stick so special?
Special. I think I will, whatever I feel, if I say now its speciality, you may not appreciate. So I will rather tell you in the last part when I end the conversation. I will tell you there what I feel.
Right.
So what I mean now that there are 4 images, important images. 3 are, as I said, Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra, and 4th one is the mace which is called Sudarsana. This Sudarsana goes everywhere, as I said earlier. Then it continues like that. Jagannath then Indradyumna made the temple, and when the temple he wanted to start to consecrate the whole thing or the God, he wanted Brahma to do it. So again, remember, we are talking of the period of Mahabharata or that. Now, when he went to, he wanted to invite Brahma to do this, and he went to Brahmalok. Interplanetary travels more or less were common in those days. And then
Interplanetary travel, as in, you mean that Brahmalok is kind of another planet?
of course, another planet or other planets. Who knows? It could be planets. Any number of planets you can have in the universe, having the living beings or far more civilized than other main human beings. So, and when he reached there, Brahma was busy for some time. He said, okay, I will go. But gentlemen, when you have come this far and this is already a day or two. Do you think that your temple will be there and people will be there? So he said, have you forgotten that my one day is will be 1,000 years in your place or 100 years?
Wait, is this hinting to some time dilation of some sort?
That is what I am hinting at. That is exactly I am hinting at. That then the Indradyumna became conscious. Then Brahma said, you go and find out. There will be nobody, no relation of yours, or your see whether your temple will be there or not. Now he came back and found that nobody is there, and his temple is also not there. I mean, not exactly there. The temple is there, but then nobody recognizes him to be the first builder of this temple. Temple was actually in his absence for 1,000 years when he went to this thing. Temple was covered with lot of sand so that nothing was seen of the temple. Then there was a king called Gal or Galmadhava. This Galmadhava, this king, when he was going on his horse in that particular area, suddenly his horse stumbled and fell down. Then the Galmadhava got up and found out what it was. Then he after just digging the sands, he said, then found it is the top portion of a temple. Then he called his people and took out the sands, and then the whole temple was there intact. And so when Indradyumna came, then Galmadhava claimed that it was not I, it is who I am built this particular temple.
So this happened, Galmadhav thing happened in the time when the other king was in Brahmalok.
Other king was
In Brahmalok.
alone. Other king was alone means
No, in Brahmalok.
in Brahmalok. This happened when he was in Brahmalok.
Okay.
When he came back, he found all these things happened, that this temple has been claimed to be
Galmadhava.
discovered or constructed by this man.
Yeah.
But somehow there were some, it is said that a particular crow was there who lived then. He's a divine crow. Then this, what do you call in the tortoises, in the tank nearby, who came and gave their version, saying that this temple was built by this King Indradyumna, and we were then they carried the stones, and by carrying the stones, we have become like tortoise-like things. That is what he said. But the question is, he could convince people that yes, it was he.
Okay.
But then he didn't have much time to leave. He became this gradually the divinity of Mahabharata period, or that customs or that traditions, or that has gone down, and he died. This thing. That is the story of how the temple was constructed, how the deity was placed. Present temple, what you are seeing now, is not the original construction of Indradyumna.
Oh, so what happened to the original one?
Original one, that was it was sort of renovated by one king of Ganga dynasty called Ananga Bhimadev, or somebody called Chudaganga Dev. So the present one is is out of 10th century, 11th century old. But what I have been talking about is of the years or 1,000 years after the end of Mahabharata or after the death of Sri Krishna.
So now let's get into what makes the deity so mysterious.
Deity?
So mysterious.
See, deity is not only mysterious, his abode is mysterious as well, in the temple where he stays. This, nothing flies, no bird flies over the temple. The another interesting thing or mysterious thing is the flag. See, the flag flutters in the opposite direction of the flow of the wind.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If the wind blows from north to south, though it flutters from south to north.
Even like today in the modern...
Today, yeah. Yes, you can go and verify yourself. And that is the mystery.
So is there some scientific reason behind this phenomenon?
Since there could not be given a scientific reason, it is mysterious. Had we got that reason, it could not be mysterious. No?
True, yeah.
So, then the third thing that this ocean or the sea's roar, the sound of the breakers is not heard within the premises of the Jagannath temple.
But the temple is really close to the sea.
Yes,
isn't it?
but then even then, if you just come out of the gate or of the temple, you see the roar of it's audible very much. Once you go in, it vanishes. So
Truly must be an architectural marvel then.
well, you may deduct the conclusion yourself. But another mystery, as you said, because you said architect marvel, that makes me to say that it is such a marvel that it doesn't throw any shadow irrespective of the position of the sun in the sky.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. So I would agree to you, it could not be that much a mystery. What you said, maybe it is a sort of architectural marvel, whatever. But it has not been clearly said that it could be due to architecture. Nobody has said.
Yeah.
But let us concede. Then this is about the temples. Now, the other mystery is the image itself. Jagannath's, the way he is shown to us, his image with big round eyes and no hand, no leg, which doesn't in any way reflect any image of any living being, whether you call insect or whether you call human being or any other animals. It has no resemblance. Have you seen anywhere that such a thing exists, such a deity exists, which has no resemblance with the earthly beings?
Yes, considering that statement too, when you see in compared to other religions, we see God being depicted as an uh, earthly being as humans mostly, and in some rare cases, and many cases in Hindu religion, animals. But Jagannath does not really resemble any, you know, anywhere close to being human or an animal, which is really interesting.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So no. So how could a sculptor imagine such an image to be created or built? So This is, and this along with the fact which mentioned earlier about the interplanetary travel, or even Indradyumna's travel to Brahmalok, and the time dilation. You know, how can people know about the time dilation in those days? We knew about the time dilation only in the 20th century
When
when Einstein, but before that, could anybody think of time dilation? Is it available in any other scriptures or any other part of the world?
Yeah.
So, what we conclude, or we are forced to conclude, there is some connection, interplanetary connection of this image with the beings in the other planets who have been, I go it a bit forward, who have been visiting this earth.
So basically, Jagannath is an extraterrestrial.
Well, I take it has to be extraterrestrial. There is no other way to explain this thing. I'll tell you one scientific way of proving this thing. In any hypothesis, if to explain a particular phenomenon, we first hypothesize, in the sense that this could be the reason for which this has happened. Now, this hypothesis or this reasoning, if it explains many other phenomenon like that, then it becomes a theory, or say this is proved.
Right. Yeah.
Now, this particular thing, what I am saying, the interplanetary connection, there is no other explanation which can, other than this, which can say, yes, Jagannath has been created like this, or there was time dilation in those times where because of this, another thing, or other explanation, if it exists, then it's okay, but it doesn't. Whereas if we say this...
But I have a question.
Yeah.
But couldn't just it be a vivid imagination? Like you see in China, there are dragons. Dragons isn't really similar to anything on Earth, really. But Chinese legends like vividly mention descriptions of a dragon. Could dragon also be an extraterrestrial, or like just vivid imagination?
First thing, I will not agree with you that dragon is not the... it doesn't resemble any animals in this thing. Dragon, we say this, the bigger shape of this during dinosaurs time, these were dragons, what I forget to tell you, the similar structure or similar shape.
You mean dinosaurs?
Not dinosaurs. The other big animals are there. You see that they resemble. It's not that they... This one, what you see in case of Jagannath, is totally out of the world. But the dragon, with the shape we see, like fire coming out of this thing, and the big tail and a elongated shape of body, that you can compare with so many other things, animals of
like
what is available.
A snake,
Not snake. The other things, I do forget about this thing, which is called in Korea the Godhi type of thing.
Oh, Komodo dragon.
Ah, yeah. It is the uncanny resemblance.
No, but Komodo dragon resembles more of a lizard. I'm talking about the elongated dragon-like structure.
This Godhi is, you enlarge the Godhi, it becomes a dragon. So there is something. And this is one part of my... The other part, again I come back to the same thing.
Right.
It could be that, because that the gods or the interplanetary travelers only chose this part, India. Not so. They also, it is said that they also came to Egypt, present Egypt.
Yeah.
old name is Misr or something like that. And there you look at the pyramids, and it is said that pyramids are the pointer to some other stars.
Yeah, it
From
is
they come.
exceptionally well built. Like the structure of the pyramid aligns with the direction.
Yes, gives a
North,
direction, and
south,
then
east,
it
west.
says that points to a particular direction where the planet exists.
So, like, do you think like Anunnaki or the sky people, which are mentioned in other cultures, like they're often said that they're also aliens? Could they be the same alien like Jagannath and Anunnaki? Are from the same planet, or are they like different aliens or different extraterrestrials?
It could be different. There are millions of planets where in the whole of the universe. Billions could be. And there, in those planets, in many of them, you will have aliens having far more advanced and far more talented than this human being, and they will be coming from different planets, possibly. And even from the same planet, if they come, they would not like to land only in India. And they could go to China. They could, in fact, it is almost sort of a proved type of thing when you think of pyramids of Egypt. No explanation could be given that how the pyramid was built, and so accurately it points to a particular direction. All the pyramids.
Right. And even it is the stones used in the pyramid are so great, like 50 tons.
Yes.
It possibly couldn't have been like towed by normal people.
Yes, yes. So many other things are there. There is a book named Chariot of Gods, written by Eric von Daniken. He's a Swiss person. The book is of 60s or something. There he details many things coming from Mayan civilization to this our Mahabharata and Ramayana and Babylonian civilizations, and he has brought out some facts, and nothing could be explained. What he said is there, how it happened. In fact, I have read the book, but somehow I didn't agree, could not agree to some points of some facts were mentioned there, and the reasoning he gave, somehow I didn't agree. But many other things he said, I had to agree.
Sir, we talked about Jagannath, considering Jagannath as an extraterrestrial being, but the main question still remains that if we consider Jagannath as an extraterrestrial, why is why are these extraterrestrials not visiting the Earth in the modern age? Why only in the ancient times? Why not in the modern age? Why not visit us now?
First thing, that they are not visiting us, I won't agree. See, they are so advanced. They could belong to another dimension. Or they may be remaining in another dimension and coming to us. You see, they may be here itself, listening to us. But since there is another dimension, we cannot know. But they can see us.
So, like, why are they making their presence like not felt?
Yes, I have been asked many times of this question. See, this takes me to another fact. In the nature, one truth is there. Here, that truth is evolution. The evolution means always for the better. Now it is said, the life is not exactly evolved from nothing. It is said that it could be explained better if you think of consciousness. consciousness is there everywhere, spreading throughout. Now this, if you don't mind, I will tell you another point which comes to my mind to your question. Now the universe was created, it is said, out of nothing, or some people say from a point, a small point, whose size is less than the size of a point of a needle, which means this whole universe is created out of nothing. Now, our people, our scriptures, our Vedas, they say no, it is not. Something cannot be created out of nothing. There was something. What was that? That was Chetana, or called consciousness. Consciousness pervades the whole of the universe.
So, like, I'm looking at this air. Even the air is conscious.
I'm coming to it. Now, from Chetana or consciousness, universal consciousness, everything is created. It is said that some disturbance made them. Consciousness was a sort of sea of consciousness was there, and a bit of disturbance, and then the whole thing started happening.
Right.
Sorry. Then, but in fact, Aurobindo, the great philosopher, Sri Aurobindo, he had said, even non-organic things, non-living things like stone or rocks, they have also consciousness, because they are part of the consciousness. Now, evolution starts from there. It evolves into life, minimal life, and this consciousness further evolves and has reached the level of man.
So, like this part of a leaf, this grass.
Yes.
Even this has consciousness.
Consciousness. Sure.
Then why am I not seeing any kind of signs of any consciousness, or like signs that this is indeed conscious?
Conscious doesn't mean, I think you are slightly confusing. Conscious means you are saying that somebody active, remaining active, conscious. No. Chetana is something different, and consciousness which you are saying is different. You are saying a man is awake or a man is sleeping.
Yeah.
If man is sleeping or if man is under intoxication, he is unconscious, or there is no. Consciousness is something which pervades the whole universe. I said whole universe. And we are just part of it, part of that Chetana which is inside us. But this Chetana continues to evolve. So, and it has evolving through the process of evolution. It has come to the stage of man, human being. And among all animals or plants or this thing, human is said to be the most prosperous or most advanced because of he has the higher consciousness. And this continues. Question is, again if you go back to Aurobindo, question is, the evolution process is a natural process, which means everything should evolve to go back to the original universal consciousness, Chetana. And faster it is done, better it is. That is what he said. Whether you agree, I agree. Not necessarily I agree with it, but I just said that there is something Chetana. How it is, why it is, etc. is different. But otherwise you cannot explain the creation of the universe itself, unless you first go this thing. Till you find another theory, and to say that the universe is created from some size of a point or this would immediately look to be ludicrous. It has some beginning, and the beginning is the Chetana, consciousness. And we are a part of consciousness.
Right.
And consciousness propensity is to evolve, continue to evolve. So when we have, it is said that human being can be God. Let us say can also be equally advanced like the extraterrestrial or living beings of other planets through this evolution of consciousness.
Oh, like I have heard in Advaita Vedanta, I believe, that Atman is Brahman. Sorry, Atman is Brahman. So basically, the self is the universe. Could this be the same line of thought?
Say except that Atman is a part of the universal consciousness. We are a part of it.
Right.
For example, so many things we can't explain. I mean this phenomenon because let's say I'll just give a comparison. It's not a proof or nothing. There is a ocean, and there are small fish, shrimps, and whales, dolphins. Now we bring a bit of water, hold a bit of water from the ocean and look at this thing and say, why there is no whale here? There is no shrimp here? So it is not correct. That sea doesn't contain whales or shrimps or this. It doesn't have any. It is not exactly like a proof I am giving. It is an example I am giving.
Yeah.
We see like that. The universal consciousness, what is happening in the larger context, it is difficult for us to know, sure. But we can guess.
Right.
We can conjecture.
So, I have a question. Like you mentioned before that Jagannath might be an extraterrestrial. Then you said that Jagannath might be a higher dimensional being. So, what exactly is Jagannath? Is it a extraterrestrial or a higher dimensional being, or maybe both?
Well, he is both. He is extraterrestrial and he also has much higher dimensional existence, which we cannot compare, which we cannot imagine. And perhaps he is trying to see or to watch us that we don't impede the evolution, which is the natural law.
So it seems to me like Jagannath is just from another planet, but he is higher up the conscious ladder than us.
Yes?
And he only intervenes when he sees that uh, the technological advancement of this human race is causing us to self-destruct. Like we saw in the Mahabharata war,
Right.
the destruction was massive.
Right.
So he came like right after to like intervene and to take away this extraordinary technology that we had. Do you agree, or is it something else?
I know, I entirely agree for your summation. Yes, I think I agree. I guess.
So do you think that the people in Mahabharata or in that time, they were not ready for the kind of technology they had?
See, they had the technology. They were ready to use the technology, they knew, but proper use of it. They had not known the proper use of weapons of mass destruction. And for nothing, perhaps they defied the beings from the other planets which were visiting rather regularly in those days. Perhaps they defied and in the process got themselves devastated. I have to add one more thing. Popularly the belief is that Mahabharata took place in the era of Dwapara, the Dwapara Yuga. And then after the death of, or after the Yudhishthira abdicated his throne and Parikshita came into being as king, the Kali started. So I would like to say or impress that Kali is not a sudden appearance after Dwapar. Nothing in nature, nothing happens suddenly. Everything is gradual. If a tree grows, it will gradually grow. If it dies, it will gradually die. So the civilization of Dwapara did not end suddenly. Suddenly didn't Kali happen. This is a continuation. Sri Krishna died, he left some legacy, and that legacy continued through Indradyumna. And gradually depletion went on, and for which we are there today.
So I think that's all we have the time for today. So to conclude, today we discussed the story of Jagannath, its the temple's mysterious origins, its mysterious architecture. Then we went on to how mysterious the deity itself is, and then we talked about the Mahabharata war and how it was very advanced with interplanetary travel and time dilation and all that stuff. And then we discussed the consciousness and how it pervades everything, and how Jagannath is actually a higher dimensional being and how it intervenes when it sees fit. And so all this leads us to believe that Jagannath is a higher dimensional being, higher up on the conscious ladder, who intervenes so as to the human race or the earth doesn't self-destruct itself in the wake of technological advancements.
That was a really profound way of putting it, Pruthak. But before we actually come to a conclusion of today's episode, this episode was really, really thought provoking. And if some of you are still here, the audience, we would like you to leave a comment behind down in the comment section, whatever part you liked about the video, and it would mean a lot to us. Thank you and take care. Be sure to see you next time. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.